Well, rogue is a very general term, I feel. Because there's post-rogues, there's even differences within post-rogue, there's weapon rogue, there's poison rogue, there's miracle rogue, and a lot of differences in each different type of miracle tempo rogue. There's the one that's full cycle with Guardian Ankh Merchants, there's the one that's a little bit more greedy. There's some that run 2 posts, and that's it. No Kargal, no other watch posts, Morshan watch posts.
And this isn't new, by the way. This is why Rogue has a history of doing so well in big tournaments, like forever. It's because you can build a Rogue however you like, and always have been able to, for the meta you are in.
Yeah,
this is not a surprise that Rogue is always good.
I mean, they had a huge opportunity to make it terrible, right? Because they rotated a lot of the good cards.
Mm-hmm.
If some of the cards that they gave them to replace the cards that rotated out of the core set with less powerful cards, then sure. But yes, in the past, just because they're core set, they were good. They were a good tempo class no matter what. I didn't even get a chance to see that. I looked away for a second. Whatever.
He played some cards.
Got a big dragon.
Yeah.
The age-old argument.
I don't think Fr0zen was dealt font of power, so we can never see if he would have kept it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think the argument there was, do you coin out the encounter's flow? But with the argument against it is like based on his curve, like does he want to fit in the flow or the primal phase now so he can go Encounter's Flow and then spell damage cram session? But I think he would have been able to go Arcane Intellect anyway. But his turn 2 play would have been not clean because he most likely would have been Primordial Studiesing or Marooned Orbing like the face if he had coined out Encounter's Flow, which is not particularly good just for one discounted spell in your hand.
And Priest renewing its own face on 30, just doing Priest things like, I mean, who cares about healing? We just want more stuff, as always with Priest.
Yeah, it's a little bold. You know, he doesn't really have anything else to do, so that's why he's playing it. But at the same time, Mage that doesn't play Deck of Lunacy, actually, forget what I said. Mage has a lot of burst damage. Even when they play Deck of Lunacy, they can have a lot of burst damage. They can have more burst damage with Deck of Lunacy. It's just they have a consistent amount of burn damage in their normal deck.
It will be interesting to see, actually, now that he hasn't drawn it this early, whether Fr0zen ever plays Deck of Lunacy if he picks it up. Because now he might just rely on the natural burn in his deck. You know, Mask of Cthulhu's are a lot of damage against someone who doesn't have many minions. You know, already got the Apexis Blast, already got the Rune in hand. There's a lot of damage building up. And you can actually just blow that up with Deck of Lunacy, and things can just start going bad if you're not careful.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't play it. Just because I think this is kind of the sweet spot. I think he's looking for second Encounter's Flow because the Lever of Hopes, you don't really want to be spending 6 mana just making an 8/8 in this matchup. You want to be spending 6 mana dealing a ton of damage to them. And yeah, that's why I'd be curious if he thinks differently, but right now just draw a bunch of cards, assemble a lot of very cheap bursts, look for second. Oh, I hate Refreshing Spring Water. Okay.
There are things happening here, TJ.
And Brain Freeze?
And we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he Brain Freezes and then Cram Sessions.
There we go.
Okay.
If he was going to Lunacy, or if he intended to use the Lunacy to its fullest, he would Lunacy first. And he doesn't look like that's what he's going to do.
Nah.
I also agree with this. I like this. But it's interesting that you don't just jam the best card in Hearthstone. Or maybe you do. Maybe he's going to. He's going to! He's jamming it! We're wrong! Well,
so,
Fr0zen's wrong and we're both right, obviously.
He does have burn in hand, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Mask of Cthulhu is still available as a good amount of burn damage with the discount, because your cards are discounted to 4 mana. So the 5 mana spell that he had gets bumped up 3 cost to the Mask of Cthulhu, which would have been the Apexis Blast. So you can still find burn. It's just Now you have Libram of Hopes instead of, you know, potentially like your other Mask of Cthulhu, right? Your Mask of Cthulhu, which is a huge amount of burst damage against a deck that doesn't play many minions.
2 and 3 mana fireballs are good, but you can hear the thought process in his head. You can hear that I'm not going to play this card, I'm not going to play this card, this is the best card in Hearthstone, what am I doing? I'm going to play the best card in Hearthstone, damn it. And then he played it. He's trying to keep it all not doing that, and I mean, the voices in your head talk you into it sometimes.
The argument is ridiculous, right? Because it's like, oh man, why would you play Deck of Lunacy? You have so much burn in your deck. I mean, look how much damage he just drew. Like he drew the first 4 cards that he drew after playing Deck of Lunacy with 1 discount. He drew 18 damage and 2 card draw.
It's a lot of damage.
Like, in his hand right now, he has Apexis Blast 5, Rune Door 2, so that's 7. With Fireball, that's 13. Mask of Cthulhu, 23. The Double Moon Touch Amulet, that's 31. He has 31 damage in hand. Now, he can't do all that in the same turn, but...
Oh, my.
He can do it over multiple turns.
By the way, yeah, while we've been giggling, Lucia's been drawn on the other side for no hands, and this could be absolutely insanity.
Oh, my gosh.
If he wedges this onto the board.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a Cthulhu piece in hand, but he does have some cheap stuff.
Right.
But the cheap stuff is actually not that good because these I forgot what they're called. Auspicious Spirits. I don't think they're corrupt. Is that the corrupt art form? I can't.
Got to admit, I don't know. Yeah, they don't seem to make much difference sometimes.
Okay, no, they weren't. They weren't. Yeah, I was going to say.
Now.
I'm pretty sure they're brighter, more flashy when they're corrupt. But they are corrupt now, so those would be able to be dumped. Or at least one of them.
I don't know. I kind of like just mind rendering when my opponent's drawn that many reduced costs.
I don't know about that.
I'm trying to win by just dying. It's hard. It's a really tough call. It's a really tough call. He seems comfortable to play, though.
Nourish for mana. And then...
Oh, it's turn 6. Sorry, the fact all his cards cost 3 and he's drawn his entire deck made me think it was a little bit later.
Yeah. Throwing burn at face right now doesn't make much sense, so I kind of want to set up. Yeah, Rune Orb is not like that much burn.
That's cycling
because
it happens to do damage.
Yeah, because you want to attempt to... Ooh, Snap Freeze. Does he have lethal set up? Next turn he has 8-14 from hand. Can he fit in the Apex Blast as well? Yes, he can. That's 19.
So probably not lethal.
I mean... It's close.
It's super close, obviously. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think that No Hands really needs to do something about it. I mean, obviously, stating the obvious, he needs to do something about it. But if he mind renders now, this could go crazy the other way. I don't know. I can see the hands. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, but if he does that, he loses both Auspicious Spirits. He drew the Soul Mirror. So now he has a chance to deal with it. But like, I don't know. You have zero read on what is in Fr0zen's hand. Nothing.
Yeah,
you have nothing.
Obviously, it's so easy.
Yeah, you got nothing.
Yeah. Oh dear.
And Fr0zen is 2 damage off lethal right now. He has Fireball, Apexis Blast. All right. Well, there's the Libra of Hope. He has Fireball, Apexis Blast, which is 11. The double mutual damage was 19. You go Oasis Ally, Counterspell, Libram of Hope. I don't know. You need a minion to stick to be able to deal damage.
That's it. 1 minion just, yeah. We talk about repeated damage. He just needs damage from 1 minion once in the entire game and he wins because he's got that much burn. Repeated damage, thing of the past.
Okay. So I'm going to do the thing where I talk about what burn could be left in the deck for Fr0zen.
Sure. Good luck.
Yeah. So these are the cards he has left.
Okay.
Now, stay with me here. They were discounted by 1 and then increased to 3 and made random. So there you go. You got a glimpse of it. Try and figure out how much burn he could have in his deck.
So he's got a lot of 5s, you're saying. So there's Metamorphosis, there's Apex Blast, there's...
I'll bring it up again. Yes.
There's No-Fly Swarm, which is a lot of sort of attempt.
He's also got a Solarian Prime. That could be damage, because he has 1 minion left. So he could have 0 damage or 50 damage in his deck.
I mean, the 5 drops are Metamorphosis, Chaos Nova, Glowfly Swarm, Arbor Up, Force of Nature, Apexis Blast, Libram of Justice, Blessing of Authority, Stand Against Darkness, Psyche Split, Malevolent Strike, Siphon Soul, Brawl, and Cutting Class. Short version is, it could be anything, TJ.
Yeah, Apexis Blast, damage. He's got control with Libram of Justice or Chaos Nova. Oh, man. All right, so he needs his minions.
I did that all from memory, by the way.
Okay, now he I guess you don't need Cthulhu for this matchup. So he could Elucia now because you're not really worried about the piece.
I mean, I want to see his face if he Elucias and sees this hand. That's, you know.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That works.
Yeah, but what if it had just attacked the 8-4?
Then
or the 8-8? Yeah.
Good point. Well made. But was there a way of doing it so the 8-8, if he does that, it gets frozen and that doesn't work either?
Yeah, but does he care? Because he's not worried about killing him. He's worried about surviving. He's at 25.
Yeah, he's going to win this by accident, I think, here. Because of this Elucia. Like he's now in a position where he kind of has
accidentally ran out of cards and then had to play Elucia and then, oh no, look at all this burst I found.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look at all this healing. And
I want to see NoHandsGamer's face.
Oh, that reaction, though.
Didn't even react.
Has he seen them? Why haven't you reacted?
Oh, man, he gets to jump everything. Oh.
All the armor.
And they're corrupted. Still an out for Fr0zen because there's still a Solarian Prime in the deck. And Solarian Prime casting 3 Masks of Cthulhu will kill anybody.
Well. It's... I mean, who knows? There's 6 cards left. What are they? Are they good? We don't know. What might they be? We don't know that either. But what we do know is we're going to find out because NoHands isn't going to kill Fr0zen anytime soon.
Yeah, just play a 4-4. All right. So now let's take a look at it again.
Right, here it goes.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not working.
No, put some cards in. Play another Deck of Lunacy or another Flow. Just ruin everything, please.
It's not working because of the Deck of Lunacy. Apologies for that. I got a little trigger happy.
I was going to try these things.
I meant to click on the Mask of Cthulhu. I mean, that's something.
I mean, this is stuff.
Yeah, but now he only has 3 cards left remaining.
But the stuff.
I believe it. He had one of them is a Libram of Hope, right? Because he had a Oh no, 2 of them are Libra of Hopes, right? Because he had a Flame Strike in hand at the beginning, and that was the only 7-mana spell he had in hand.
Oh, did he draw the other Flame Strike? I've seen 2 Flame Strikes, but I think he drew the other one. I think you're right.
And he plays 4 7 costs. So there's at least 1 Libram of Hope in this bottom 3. There could be a second Libram of Hope.
I feel like we saw one.
We've seen 1, yes, but if he only had 7 mana,
oh sure, yeah,
and a minion played throughout the game, and he has 4, then there'd be 2 left in the deck because 1 would have been played.
Oh, the wackiness! Well worked out, TJ. I see. You're right. You're good.
I guess if it was Ysera, that still would have been decent. But Malagos is way better.
Oh, Malagos here is so much better. Yeah. It's not even a discussion in this particular instance, for sure. But in the mirror, when you're playing, one against the other, then you'd rather have the versatility, I think, of Ysera giving you just stuff.
Yeah. Needs a lot of help.
Plays a mirror.
I mean, is not dead this turn unless this is Mirror Entity. It is. So that is a 4 attacks. That's 12. Nope, still not dead. Unless there's burn damage. Hysteria? Can Hysteria the 9/11? And that would... Yeah. That's not a clear guaranteed. He attacks 4/12.
I mean, what else can you do? It's just do it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I've gone beyond calculating, TJ. I'm just watching the antics at this point.
That worked out. Now Fr0zen needs a miracle from these last 2 cards.
I'm out of cards.
He's dead.
Okay. It's a brawl. And no hands wins. Never in doubt. The decision there was when Fr0zen actually played the Deck of Lunacy, though. We both sort of thought maybe that would actually reduce the amount of damage he could do, and I think it did reduce the amount of damage he could do. Obviously, Elucia played a massive part, but I don't know. Playing the deck when it's a little bit later in the game can do that to you.
Yeah, though he did get much more burst for much cheaper than he would have, but that kind of worked against it. Against him because of the Elucia. Like if he had drawn more burn, but it was more expensive, then Elucia wouldn't have been able to throw away all of it. But then a lot of the other cards in his deck would have been less useful. So I think I agree with the Lunacy play there. The only argument they could really make is should he have thrown all the burn to face to play around Elucia because it was in the hand for a while? And I don't think he could really make that argument because there are so many cards that stay in Priest's hand for a while that you can't really read or play around.
Yeah, it's really difficult playing against Priest even now because it has. When you're playing with the Priest, you realise there are massive moments of weakness. But when you're playing against it, you just see 5 card backs and you're like, is this the moment? And unless you're desperate to go for it, in general, you should wait. So I agree with waiting there at least. But when Priest is weak, you've got to take advantage. But finding out when that is, especially like you said, who's going to practice against Priest all day? I'm not. I'm just going to look at their cards on camera and tell you what they've got. I'm not going to practice against Priest. I am, obviously a bit, but not. You're not going to play 27 games of Mage versus Priest in playtesting. It's not happening.
No. Well, it can happen. It just takes a while.
Or you have to be Xananan.
Yeah. He's playing a different kind of Priest, though. Miracle Priest, as opposed to this Control Priest. A little bit different win conditions. But overall, kind of similar in some regards because they're priests. NoHandsGamer is going to turn to the Rogue. It is the post Rogue. Is running the all 4 posts, which is weird because he is playing against a ban Paladin leave Mage up strategy. Which means that playing against Mage, the Morshan Watch post is... It's dead. It's useless. It's essentially a useless card, right? It's just there to make another 5/5 from Kargal later on the game. Except in some like weird circumstances. But most of the time it won't have as much of effect. Weapon Rogue has like a much higher win rate than Post Rogue in that specific matchup. But it was the strategy that you mentioned where you just assume that you're going to lose to one of the powerful decks at some point, ban the one that you think is even harder, lose to the other powerful deck, whether it be Major Paladin, and then beat Rogue, beat the quote-unquote weaker decks. It's time for some OTK Demon Hunter, though.
And that sort of explained his reaction as well last game. Like, he won with his worst deck against the deck he was expecting to lose to. It's like a free win. This Demon Hunter, though, it's not changed. There's Talented Arcanist and a couple of Sigils. You take out, I don't know, a couple of Oozers and some bits, and it's the same deck that was played at the last Masters Tour.
Yeah. There's really not much, like... Again, not many changes to the deck outside of what you mentioned, but a lot has changed in the metagame. And I think that's like the big reason why OTK Demon Hunter isn't everywhere, or at least it's not in as many places as we saw in the past. Like Paladin is a lot more popular, it's a lot faster, it's the decks that are in the current metagame are a lot more disruptive, right? Just the existence of watch posts. The 2-mana watch post makes it very hard for OTK Demon Hunter to plan things. The existence of secrets, like Oh My Yogs, it makes things harder to plan. It doesn't make the combos as clean. And then, like, you're not playing minions and you're giving mage enough time to do whatever they want, right?
Yep.
People get too big of boards too fast for OTK Demon Hunter to really catch up to the point where it's an oppressive deck. But I do think it has its spots.
Yeah, there was a day or two at some point a few days ago, but not at the start of the meta. So, I don't know, I could probably pinpoint it with that information, where a lot of the streamers were sort of saying, this is the deck. Demon Hunter's actually going to be the deck. And they were messing around with various builds, OTK, and the Death Rattle one, which I think we'll see eventually. And mileage varied massively. A lot of people was like, well, I've been told this is the deck and I've played it and it's garbage. And other people are like, I've been told this is the deck and yeah, this is the thing. And that all sort of died down as deck submissions came in for GM. But I do wonder if this is actually, apart from the things you highlighted, which are pretty major downsides, whether this is actually a really good bring, although not against this particular watch post that's about to happen.
Yeah, the watch post makes it annoying, but I feel like the OTK Demon Hunter actually does have a lot of game against this rogue, as long as it doesn't get a key piece of the combo increase in cost by the watch post. Because this rogue doesn't pressure as much as early, right? It doesn't. Obviously, it's a rogue deck with Jandis, but like at the same time, it doesn't have those crazy fast starts where it can kill you quickly. Not many rogues do, except for Weapon Rogue to some extent. So I think Fr0zen just here powering. Could have gone for like Chaos Strike and then Immolation Aura. Like I guess he's never going to be casting Skull from the left side. I mean, he's too talented Arcanist.
He will. He will at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to start getting the cards out of the left side. The downside is you let him draw one more card, so I guess he's going to go Immolation Aura plus Hero Power, and that's more efficient when it comes to not letting No Hands Watch Post increase the cost of an extra card in his hand. So, no, this works.
I like the Watch
Post. I had to think about it for a moment.
Yeah, you made a good case. I think watch posts are important that they've been made as cards. They're irritating to play against, but you really have to think what you're doing a lot of the time when you're playing against them. Like, quite often, just ignoring them is correct, and quite often you ignore them and you don't get there, and you've got a handful of stuff that you can't ever play.
Yeah.
It's going back to what I was saying earlier. The new set has really made you think a lot about the effects of both hands interacting rather than just the cards. It's actually the costing costs and all that going on as well now, which is kind of new. And here's the Octobot, the other card we were talking about with relation to all that. Just daring him to hit it.
And no Cult Neophyte, because I think No Hands wants to wait for like a pivotal turn to Cult Neophyte. It also dumps the only Battlecry minion, Battlecry / combo in hand, which would mean his field contact would be stranded. If No Hands doesn't draw into anything meaningful this turn, he could always go for something like Field Contact, Colt Neophyte, Shadow Step, Colt Neophyte, and then followed up with Secret Passage on turn 6, because the turn 6 Secret Passage opens up the ability to play Jandis Barav, which I think is an important Secret Passage breakpoint, mana breakpoint. But it looks like he's just going to go Prize Plunder, Shadow Step, Prize Plunder. Oh, this way. I can go Colt Neophyte. Shadow Step, Prize Plunder. Ugh. The juice.
Yeah, and going forward, this is going to have massive implications for the game, because now everything is just open for him next turn. He knows that nothing bad's going to happen to him this turn. There is an argument to say he could have waited a turn on the Neophyte so that the Skull of Gul'dan would have cost 7 next turn, effectively. But other than that, I like it.
Yeah. It will be cleared quite easily by Immolation Aura, but it does put Fr0zen further behind Skull timing, because I'm sure he wanted to like Immolation Aura, Chaos Strike, Hero Power, and then dump the Arcanist.
Yep.
I don't know. It's actually
But the other way, if the Skull was already in position, I feel like No Hands maybe could have waited a turn to make sure he stops it being cast next turn. Anyway, here's Jandis, so none of that matters anymore.
Yep. And so Fr0zen holding on to this Immolation Aura is actually going to work out quite well, because Immolation Aura is quite effective for dealing with Jandis.
Yep.
Because it kills off Jandis plus whatever the illusion minion is, and then leaves you with a damaged 5-drop.
Yeah, and you don't have to make any guesses as well, which is quite a big deal. Not on this particular one, but sometimes. The fact you don't have to guess, you're guaranteed to kill the 1 health thing is also nice.
So I imagine, yep, going to empty out the entire left side of his hand here to play that Skull next turn. Love it.
And
Full board clear, because it adds the spell damage to both ends of the spell. Nicely done.
Yep, and he's played for that for some time as well, in particular. But No Hands has these 0 mana Secret Passages. Yeah, so far Fr0zen has 0 combo parts, despite the fact he's doing a good way of staying alive. And No Hands is just busy with 0 mana Secret Passages going on. There's a lot of play left here yet.
Yep.
I'd play all those cards. They seem good.
Probably, but Fr0zen's at 25, and yes, he could deal like 5 damage to face here with Penflinger and Wicked Stab, but it's not really getting him anywhere fast.
You can get the post down as well, I think, right? Because he flings the Octo.
Oh, if you fling the Octo, then sure, yeah.
Just because you're never going to see these cards again. If you win this game, you're going to win it fairly soon. I think you're dying in 3 or 4 turns.
The only argument that I would have is that maybe he wants his hand on the other side of the passage to be discounted more so than these cards.
Fair. That's what he's going with.
A Field Contact, yeah. And he already has 1 Penflinger, so the other one's a little bit redundant. Okay.
Right, well, now the game is going because Fr0zen has the things.
Yeah.
First Moag, reduced.
So if Fr0zen plays the Illidari Studies this turn and dumps a card, next turn he can go Blood Mage Thalnos plus Skull of Gul'dan because it'd be discounted at 1. But it looks like he's not going to go for it. It's pretty much an Il'gynoth and a couple minutes away from just game ending damage anyway.
Alright, No Hands. So many good options here. I'm really curious to see exactly how he approaches this.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
The hard bit is judging how long you've got left. Like, what golems do you need to go for, if any? Do you have time to make any at all?
Yeah.
He does know that Fr0zen's been rotating through his deck a lot, so there's a reasonable chance he's not quite ready.
Oh yeah, with half his deck left and only two cards that are shown discounted, right? Since he's played one with the Sigil of Silence.
So
and one of those cards is increase in cost, and 8 mana is a pretty tough break point to kill still with only a couple discounts and no philosophy played. So.
Yep. So he plays the, I want to call the sensible play, the straightforward play. Silencing the watch post is interesting, by the way, because now it's a 3/5 that can attack.
Yeah.
An actual threat.
Oh, wow. That's funny. All right, so Fr0zen now just all he needs is Il'gynoth. He does have enough now because that is, even though Raging Fell Screamer was played, that Moarg is actually discounted. So that's when it copies the discount. And would have enough damage now with Talented Arcanist, which was picked up off the top. Oh no, if he drew Il'gynoth that turn, he had lethal. With the Talented Arcanist. Because it would have been +2 spell damage. With double Foul Screen Blast, he wouldn't have enough mana to play at all. So it would have been 6 damage, 18 times 2, 36. Would have even been able to fit in a hero power for 37 damage max.
That'll do it, but he's not going to get those things. So now he's got to clear up, use up some more of his resources. Although, yeah, we talked about it a lot at the Masters Tour. This deck can afford to waste resources. It draws more things later on.
Yeah. So with +1 spell damage and doubled twice, it is 24 damage, I believe, if he draws Il'gynoth. So we get the +1 spell damage from the Ethereal Aug Merchant. Doubled once would be 4, and then doubled twice would be 8 times 3, because Fell Screen Blast hits 3 targets. That's 24. So Il'gynoth with a hero power, still 25 damage. So he got rid of just enough resources to be able to still have lethal, unless like a taunt comes out. If he draws Il'gynoth.
24 is one of the common numbers, and No Hands will be very aware of that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Fr0zen has a skull in the far left. Even if skull hits Il'gynoth, he still has enough mana because the Il'gynoth would be discounted, and he'd still have enough mana to do it all, even after spending 6 mana on skull. The only thing that would have stopped him would have been... No, nothing would have stopped him. Not even taunt. Because...
Neophyte.
Neophyte wouldn't have stopped him. No, it would have stopped him from drawing it from the skull, but not off the top. So that's it. That's
he's done. He has drawn it off the top, and so it goes to 1 each.
Yep. He's got to do it on his own minions here. It's the only thing. Because you don't want to throw it into a Divine Shield. And perfectly done. 25 damage. Nice shot by Fr0zen just to quickly count and realize how many resources he could afford to use. I feel like the play where he held on to Immolation Aura, knew that he wanted to empty out the left side of his hand, and knew that the Talented Arcanist would be wasted if he used the Immolation Aura before the turn he could pair it with that. Being able to full clear the Jandis board was just it was just a nicely played early game from Fr0zen that set that up, right? Like, so many people might have... I probably would have even dumped the Immolation Aura on the turn before. But he sequenced it properly, spent his full 6 mana on the Jandis turn, knowing that that was the turn, the pivotal turn that he needed to turn the game around, essentially, and outcast his skull, get his skull in outcast position. So, just a nice, clean game of OTK Demon Hunter. That's what you like to see.
Yeah, I'd have been panicking for sure. So my skull's in position 5. I need to start getting rid of these cards. Yeah, I'd have panicked, but Fr0zen realised he had the time to get the skull along to the left. He didn't have to hurry. And he cleared that monstrous board. That was a big deal.
Yep, that was a key turn right there, I think.
one of the advantages of bringing a deck that's barely changed, like, I know Fr0zen's played it brilliantly, and I don't want to take anything away, but advantage of bringing a deck that's barely changed is you know how to play it already if you've been playing it before.
Yeah, there's slight differences, like Talented Arcanist means that you can even dump a lot more of your lifesteal cards than you could in the past, right? Because just one Moarg and Talented Arcanist plus a Fell Screen Blast still nets you 18 damage, right?
It's
so
like only one
like
spell. Who cares? I'm only using one spell. I don't mind.
Yeah, like sometimes hero powers whittling him down, whittling your opponent down to 18 in Aldraki Warblade swings is enough just to have like a 4-card combo deal that much damage. So, it still is a tough deck to play because resource management is tough. Hand management, emptying cards, getting rid of cards when you can. But it's all tied up 1-1 now, and No Hands is going to head over to his own Spell Mage, and he is playing a sort of similar list to what Fr0zen was doing, except -1 Ring Toss, +1 Cone of Cold, and then Combustion instead of a Secret. Or I guess it's the Cone of Cold instead of the Secret, and +1 Combustion instead of second Ring Toss.
I keep counting these cram sessions, and there's 2 cram sessions every time, and it's like, I don't want there to be 2 cram sessions. That card's, ooh, I don't know.
I mean, it's okay.
It's one of those cards that no matter what you do seems to be the 28th best card in your deck. Like no matter how much stuff you change, you kind of need it. But I want it to go. I want someone to find a way to get rid of the cram sessions.
Let's put it this way. I'd rather have cram session than ring toss. So
fair.
Because I just want to draw cards. I want to make my deck cheap and powerful, and then draw those cheap, powerful cards.
But I don't want to draw my cram sessions when I'm drawing cards.
You do, because then you get to draw more. It's just a cheap cycle. Usually it's 1 mana.
Fair.
And then
yeah.
And there are what 3 spell damage minions now with Font of Power, just natural mage minions plus Primordial Study. So because there's I can't remember. It's not actually played in that many decks. 5/5 with +2 spell damage that gives the +2 spell damage to a minion in your deck when on Death Rattle.
I can't beat TJ in an argument, but I just let him beat himself. That's how I go about this when I get it wrong. It's just like, I'm not winning. Just go, TJ. Find the answer to yourself, because I can't find it.
Well, yeah. There's that. There's Lab Partner. There's Astromancer, Solarian. So those are 3 from Font that you get from Font of Power, plus Primordial Studies that you put in your deck. It's very likely that one of your cram sessions will be paired with a... there's also the Imprisoned Phoenix. There's 4. And there's one more. I know there's one more.
I'm just letting you go at this point. I do know, but I'm looking at this hand now because there's a Jandis in the opener against Mage, and I think that's quite an important development that we should talk about. And I've talked about it. So what's No Hands going to draw is more important now.
Well, I guess to further elaborate on your that's a Jandis. 5 drops, because of the shrunken pool of minions with card rotation, with expansion rotations, and with the core set being revamped, there are much less, one of those 2.
Far fewer.
Bad 5 drops. Far fewer. There you go. Bad 5 drops. And there's a lot of really, really good 5 drops. So Jandis has just overall, a strong card previously in the previous set with a lot of bad 5 drops. It has gotten even stronger. So must include, and even though it was pretty high on mulligan win rates even before the expansion release in the set rotation, it has now jumped up even higher in when kept in mulligan win rates. So.
Yeah, and I feel that's twofold. First of all, the reasons you just gave, where Jandis has just got so much better. There's like 2 3/3s and a 1/1, and all the rest is just good or very good. But also, I think Rogue has started relying on Jandis a little bit more. It's taken out some of the... Lackeys would beat you by having an army of 1/1s and maybe a dragon that you found along the way. But you don't have any of that anymore. You kind of have a Jandis and not much else to kill your opponent with. So... you kind of need the Jandis as well as it's working both ways, right? It's really good, but if you don't get it, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. There's not as many like big tempo minions. There's no questing. There's no Edwin, so it's a little bit harder to do the really powerful things. You're relying a lot on tempo and then incremental damage with pen flingers and wicked stabs later on in the game.
Yeah, and mountain climber, and that's about it. In fact, we're playing
that his name?
On deck. It's a throwback to something said on EU earlier today that I'm sure people will work out.
Oh, I don't watch those chuckleheads.
No, not me anymore. I'm a fully fledged fan of the Americas region now.
You're an honorary American, or Canadian, or South American. I guess American encompasses South America as well. Just American.
Very much so now, especially this year. Like we've got a lot more South American players than we ever had.
I guess American also covers Canadians because Canada is in North America. So American.
Is that why there's Canadians in the American region?
Does, in a roundabout way, encompass all the players in Grandmasters.
Amazing. Who would have thought it? I think we've cracked the code, TJ. We now know why these players are here.
Yep. All right.
Why are we here?
Ogremancer played before the Jandis. This is for I don't know. Just knowing that he's going to play spells, but he's going to play spells.
Yeah.
I guess Ogremancer has a higher upside.
I don't think he's any deeper than my opponent's going to play spells.
Yeah.
And also, my opponent has to play spells to kill my Jandis. That's kind of the second level of this.
Okay, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. You play the thing that forces spells.
Yep.
And then you play Jandis so that the spells have to be played once more to kill the Jandis.
Yes. And hope they've not got enough spells to kill all the things.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
What makes something...
There we go. The follow-up from this complicated setup.
See, these are both pretty cool. I don't think there's mind games. I think you just put it on the very obviously weaker of the two minions.
The time to mind games in this, I can't remember who did it, but somebody did it last year, is when you're already miles ahead and it tells your next opponent that you might mind games them. That's kind of the only time to do it.
Yep. All right, starting to get some cool spells from other classes. Funny that I-beam, no matter what, no matter how many cost reductions it has, no matter how many cost increases it has, if it's in outcast position, it will cost 1 mana.
Love it.
Everybody should know that if they played an ounce of Demon Hunter, because if you played even just 15 minutes of Demon Hunter with Skull and I-beam in your deck, you've gotten to that situation where you're like, oh, yes, my I-beam's free. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Now I have 0 mana and I need to cast my I-beam. Oh, no, it's an outcast position. Oh, no, it's 1 mana.
And the first time you do it, you think, it's bugged. My card should cost 0. Why does it cost 1? And then you read the card and you realize that you're a silly person.
Yep.
Plenty of stuff coming in from Fr0zen here, though. Like, the Ogre's just still chilling. The Jandis is coming back for more. The spells are going to cost sensible amounts of mana for a turn.
So many options.
Is he considering playing double neophyte here and just trying to win on the back of it?
What makes something...
No, I think you want the power of Jandis on board, the second Jandis. So this is a below average Jandis because you got a 3/3. Fortune Teller and Faces Manipulator, those are pretty below average, but at least it gives you an obvious target for the illusion.
He's definitely trying to work out neophytes.
Yeah, I was thinking this one leads some board space for 2/2s, but I guess at this point, you don't even know what spells to expect. There could be one spell that completely clears your board. Like a
yeah, you have the
ball?
choice to have one sort of super neophyte turn or two medium ones in a row, and he's gone for the two medium ones. I think that was just what he was wrestling with the whole turn.
Yeah.
He's gone for the two mediums, which is good because he's got a fortune teller as well, so that's like 3 mediums.
I wonder.
See what I did there?
I don't.
See, fortune tellers are mediums in the real world.
Oh.
I'm bringing my EU
that's
sensitive with me.
Yeah, that's an obscure joke for people that don't use advanced language.
I'll come down to the audience tomorrow, TJ, for you. You being the audience, as far as I'm concerned.
Time runs out on me.
Yeah, my benchmark is, would Saul have understood that joke? If the answer is yes, then I would not have understood that joke.
Yeah, he hasn't mentioned anything in Discord, actually, so he's probably left.
I wouldn't blame him.
No, me either. Anyway, No Hands finally gets some use out of that I-beam, but there's a lot of stuff here from Fr0zen now, and it's going to do damage.
Yeah, No Hands has some ability to swing the game back because of Libra of Hope and Germination. That is some big stuff that he could put in the way of Fr0zen. And rogues outside of Prize Plunderer don't get through big minions that easily.
Mm. And he will be expecting it. I mean, you know, we've done Count the Librum already today once.
Yeah, he knows the Librums. Librum is the only 9-mana spell in the entire pool of spells across every class right now. So if you have 6-mana spells in your deck and you Deck of Lunacy, all of those spells will turn into Libra of Hope. As you can see happening right now. Another Libra of Hope. No Hands to play. Is that what? Yeah, potion!
I like this potion so much, but I always do, and it's always wrong.
He doesn't even have hand space. I don't even know what he has on his board.
Stuff. Neophytes for 1. He's still got the ogre. Well, it's going to be a lot of stuff to deal with. I think there's enough battle cries there to work with. Might not even need to. Why doesn't the mage deck run out of things ever?
My hand is too full.
And don't say because it plays Cram Session or we're going to fall out.
Muzzle their magic.
I don't even know what to do. Alright, so Void Tracker's always going to be a 1/1 because he can never get, well, I don't want to say never, but it's very unlikely that he'll find a way to get soul fragments. Fortune Teller gains some amount of stats. You know what? Let's take a look.
Wow.
You gain +1/+1 for each spell in your hand. Wow, that was just as helpful for me as it was for you in the audience.
Saying that I didn't know that.
Still not going to be that much bigger than a 1/1.
Yeah.
High Abyss Allura can be interesting, but there's not really that many spells left in Fr0zen's deck that actually kill things. He's got Brain Freeze and Wicked Stab, but Wicked Stab definitely wants to be pouring at face unless it's a massive minion. Oh yeah.
Take that 3.
It's been such an awkward game for No Hands. Like it's like a full board of nonsense every turn, and his hand is just a full hand of nonsense every turn.
Deck of Nonsense does this to you, though. This is why
Psyche Split, I believe.
I'll go with that. I'm not sure, if I'm honest. I think this is why people like yourself do prefer the Paladin slightly, though. Like, the Paladin does its thing reliably, you know what's happening every game. Sometimes Mage just does this stuff. This Ogre has just sat there since turn 4.
He's got 2
making
prize
minions,
blunders.
Ogre and Ogre again.
See, I got that one.
Cool, I've got it right now. I'd work it out in the end.
Here we go. It is a 2/2 with taunt. So hasn't really played many cards.
Quiet.
Let's see. That is 1, 2, 3. This is 4 cards. So if I count it correctly, that should be 4 damage plunderer. And then he could trade into 4/4 and then 4 damage. Oh no, it's a 3 damage plunderer. What? He played Fortune Teller, High Abyss Allura, Field Contact. Oh, he traded in High Abyss Allura. My fault.
Are you counting actions?
Actions, yes. Cards played. Prized plunderer damage.
And he really, really does not want... Wait. Okay, yeah, make the space. Okay, cool.
Yeah, nicely done.
Doesn't want to eat any damage to the face, does not do that, and is looking in a good spot. Because you never know when the Mage is about to hit you for 22 out of the blue, for no particular reason.
There's another one.
Every turn, make it stop.
You get Leer of Hope, Psyche Split. Oh.
Only one person can make this stop, and that is Fr0zen. He needs to just get through all of them.
He's really struggling. This is...
The Ogre's just still there.
That is another 22 health, essentially. That he needs to
Oh
get
my
through.
goodness. He needs to do it quickly as well. You just don't want to Boston this one.
I'm looking for a few good
Hey, Boston was close. He spotted it. All right,
He
so
did.
probably going for 5, and we're looking for buffs. Didn't get buffs. Did get summon a copy. Did he get rushed to begin with?
I don't know. There's also freeze and just worry about it later.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I'm not a fan. You've got to chew through these while you can. Pretty much sure, but... Oh, yeah, just redo. Just get a better golem. That's always the answer. He's still got 6 mana, so he can play the 5. Nearly.
Not quite. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless that 5 is really bad, then he's not.
It looked really bad. Like, all the options seemed kind of poor. I might be wrong on that, but I saw the last lot of options. I was like, you don't want those. Poisonous.
Poisonous?
And, yeah,
Summon a copy.
not great.
He just needs to play a bunch of cards.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the only card he could really play. Apologies.
So
The taunt was actually the good one, though. Because now at least he can
he's
deal
half
with that.
expecting to die here, yeah. But he's okay. He's going to get the good news that he doesn't die here. Probably. Depending on what No Hands gets from all this next stuff.
Wait, what even is that card?
It looks like... Nope. Thought I knew what it was, and now you've scared me.
What to do? What to do?
Oh, no. I'm all confused now.
Time runs out on me.
Or cash. Okay. That's
There we go.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Oh, God. Sorry. Getting excitable.
That was a very nicely played turn, I think.
There was a lot to take in there, and I think, like you say, he's got a lot of it done.
Well, a lot of it was just sequence, like filling up the board, then playing the spells that don't kill minions, and then clearing as much. I think he left the board as empty as he possibly could have. Fr0zen starting to run a little bit dry on resources.
Kind of.
The important part is he... Well, the biggest thing is that, like, the bottom cards in his deck, he has 2 watch posts, a swindle, and a field contact, which don't help him when he's that deep in his deck already. He does have a penflinger and a wand thief, so that's good. Other than that, he's lacking a lot. And there's counterspell. So ideally, he plays High Abyss Allura and brain freezes the Libram of Hope to get the minion. And now he can no longer do that unless he trades everything in. But this is Divine Shield, give your other minions +2/+2. Okay, got the good one. Ah, man.
Ooh.
Okay.
Sorry, TJ.
That is A-okay. There's the Gore Howl. The other card is Morshan Elite, which, if your hero attacked this turn, it summons a copy. A card that a lot of people had rated pretty highly, but Warrior itself just hasn't found much play, unfortunately.
Not yet, but it will. Like, you know, we're assured there are many nerfs coming, so I don't think Warrior's that bad. It's just not thriving in the current environment. Finally, on turn 1,000,000, gets rid of the Ogre.
But doesn't do much else, and that's the problem.
Is this lethal now?
5 cards left in deck, 2 watch posts, 1 field contact, 1 penflinger, 1 wand thief. There's no spells.
Ah, that's a problem.
Well, he can get wand thief. Yeah, it's wand thief, watch post, and field contact, and the last
there now. So where I've been the last moment has just been getting my my version of events back up so I can see what cards I have too, even though you've kept me informed. Fireball, that's got to be it, because it kills the minion.
He could set it up unless this is Ice Barrier, but if it's Ice Barrier, he wouldn't be able to win anyway. And I believe it is Ice Barrier because he didn't deal damage to the face last turn, so it's not rigged fair game. And the only way secret could be with all these cards played is Ice Barrier.
So he gets extra damage this way by saving the penflinger to go with the spell, which makes sense, obviously.
Well, the penflinger is going bye-bye, but he does have 1 and 2 next turn to be able to draw it.
Meanwhile, the
Power
nonsense he talks
infusion.
about, oh, nothing.
It's got to
He
be.
finally went out of monstrous taunts because he's never had any damage all game.
Well, he's got some smaller taunts with Barricade. He can go Barricade, attack, and then Mogshan Elite. Or Sean Elite? I forgot. Something.
Message Celestalon, he'll know. It's probably Bob or something.
And then Power Infusion?
What to do?
Something? Yeah, I think you just build a huge board. Try and weaken things, and then Reckless Apprentice plus Mask of Cthulhu next turn. But you have to kind of make a wall of taunts this turn.
Oh, it hurts to put the weapon into the 1/1 as well. But you have to do it, obviously.
Put it on something.
Yeah, just play the card.
Because of Reckless Apprentice, I'd rather put it on the 2/4 because 4 attack means that the 5/5's trading into it. is quite good.
Yep.
Ooh, didn't draw a second flinger, but I think if No Hands can clear things up with Mask of Cthulhu plus Reckless Apprentice next turn, and he should be able to. I think he's got this because I don't think Fr0zen has enough damage right now to. Wait.
Yeah, he
wait.
loses in fatigue in some situations, but are you sure? Yeah.
Why wouldn't he go high Abyss Allura and then after trading into the 4/4, then fireball it to get an extra minion with additional power on board? So I don't have board space. Yeah, because if he'd made this trade first and then fireballed, he'd have a 2/4
Become the hero. This world
instead of one of these 1/1s, so it'd be more damage. Maybe wanting to play Ogremancer instead, but I think I would have played it over the Octobot anyway. I don't know. It's one extra damage. I doubt it'll make the difference.
He's either going to get through easily or not at all most of the time. From where he's sat, that is. It's so
and
hard
he even
playing.
draws the shooty lifesteal spell.
Initiating overdrive.
This is so slow. I've not seen that animation on a big board before. Shooty lifesteal spell coming in. It's only 4 though.
Excuse me, I've been mixing up Allura with Kel'Thuzad so much because of the Kel'Thuzad that we saw earlier. I'm dumb.
I've been trying to work it out because I'll correct you if I can.
Come on, Neil, you got to call me out on those things.
Well, I've only just got back.
It's not your fault. It's my fault.
Thing, right? I thought that there was a spell that I'd missed.
Yeah, I've been mixing it up with Headmaster Kel'Thuzad because the Headmaster Kel'Thuzad, which is Spell Burst. If you kill a minion with the spell, it summons a copy of it. But with what Fr0zen didn't even have any spells left in his deck. Because what Allura does is it's Spell Burst, cast a spell from your deck. So
I was scrambling to see what cards he got left in his deck, and I couldn't get the thing, and I'm running around behind the scenes trying to find out what cards.
You thought I was just some genius, like, oh my god, Fr0zen's got this spell in his deck that summons a 2/4 taunt? I want to know what this card is. Nah, I'm just...
Yeah, every time you talked about the cards in his deck, I'm like, there's no spells there. What am I... I'm just first time old man using new technology. I'm like, I must be wrong. TJ's a genius, and I'm an idiot. What's happening?
No, for some reason that...
And I remember hot takes. I should remember hot takes. You win every week. I should know that I'm always wrong, so I was being careful.
Yeah, no, that was entirely me confusing High Abyss Allura with Headmaster Kel'Thuzad Spell Burst. Because of the one that we saw earlier, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool. So apologies for that. I'm sure I made the end of that game confusing, but really all you need to know is a nice clear there from NoHandsGamer. Building up as much stuff as he could possibly build up with the taunts. The Lever of Hope's incredibly helpful in being able to stabilize that game because Fr0zen actually eked out as pretty much as much value as you can from this deck because his 2 Shadow Step targets were Jandis and Kazakis, which is as much value as you could possibly squeeze out of a rogue like this. He got through 4 Libra of Hopes, plus a wall of 4 taunts that had, 4 health, 8 health on one of them. So that was a pretty impressive navigation of getting through those taunts and still setting up lethal. But Deck of Lunacy, giving him a lot of good stuff.
While you were explaining that, I was trying to sort of do a very rough estimation of how much damage he did that game. And it was like 80 or 90, something like that. Because he's got through all of those taunts, all those times. He's actually done a lot of damage. Some of that damage has been healed back up. He did so much damage, and it still wasn't enough. So if you can't beat him, join him and play your own mage and beat their rogue. That's the way forward here.
Yep.
That's what he's going to do.
All right. Fr0zen on the mage now, and No Hands is going to be on the rogue. No Hands is playing the full Watch Post rogue. we saw it a little bit earlier with the watch, all 4 of the 2/3 cost watch posts, plus the Cargo Battle Scar.
Have we seen Cargo actually hit the board today? I don't think we have at all.
No, but we've only seen 2 players, or 1 player actually playing it in their deck, which is Fr0zen. Or no, sorry, not Fr0zen.
Oh, no, I've been watching like all sorts of other places play Hearthstone.
Oh no, it was played in Europe in the second to last series, I believe, in in the last series in Boston versus Jarl, I think.
And it hit the board.
It did with 3 5/5s. In one of those last series in Europe. But refreshing spring off of Ruined Orb too. That means Fr0zen could go for the Dream, could go for Spring Water, Spring Water, Spring Water.
That's a lot of water. He's going to be very hydrated after all that.
Oh, you bet.
And halfway through his deck at the same time, which would be pretty handy.
Yeah. The only issue is that if he did that, then he actually he couldn't do that because the watch post is still on the board. So could do that at some point in the game, but not at the moment. Oh no, he can do it because they're discounted from the encounters.
Fine.
So now
it's all going to work out well.
His spells, it's effectively negated. His spells are just full cost right now because of the watch post. Oh no, my spells are full cost.
Oh no, what do I do? My opponent's got a 2/4 thing that does nothing, and I can get my spells for normal price. And get a Jandis, because why not?
Jandis? Firebrand?
And the other one. But NoHands has gained quite a bit of tempo in the meantime. Occult Conjurer.
Really not that many minions on the board to buff, I suppose, so I think summon a copy of this is probably better than give your minions +2/+2.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. You beat down the Flame Strike, so that's fine. One of the problems with the 5-mana Golem in general against mages, they just Flame Strike them all away. But 2 5/5s now is pretty good, whatever the ability.
What makes something real?
Burning Blade Acolyte. Oh, man. And Darrell Coaster.
Yeah. I can hear Raven in my head saying he'd put the 1 health on the other minion now.
That is quite possibly the worst Hearthstone play you could ever make. There is absolutely no reason to do it unless you think that your opponent is somehow going to buff the health of your Burning Blade Acolyte. Which I guess we can't put that past Raven. This will never.
I mean, I didn't want to be the one to say that. Yeah, and definitely beyond my station. More Kazakuses. Can he get a better one? Does he want to go for a 1-drop and just try and get a couple of things out there?
Or a 10-drop. Ooh.
Wild Vine, giving +2/+2, so he did go for the 5. Wow. Everything Rogue does looks so unimpressive when the mage just picks up loads of cards and blasts them all off the park, doesn't it? Like, look at all these things I did. I made a golem, and I made a 1/2, and I hit you in the face, and I made your cards cost more, and mage just blows them all up and laughs in your face.
Yeah, but you do have to blow them all up at a pretty fast pace here. Pexus Blast with 2 watch posts on the board still costs 6. It is insane. He gets a rush minion, also insane. Oh, the Cannon Master Smythe. His card text is Spell Burst. When you kill a minion with a spell, summon it. Sorry, bad joke.
It's fine. I'm trying to process it all at once.
That was just me making fun of myself for confusing IBSLR. Yeah, Master Smize actually turned.
Now I've got to learn your humor, you see. This might take some time.
Yeah. He turns your secrets into 3/3s, and then they turn back when they die into your secrets.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Very unique card.
There's quite a few of those. Like all of the mercenary characters have pretty good fun this time.
Okay, so it's lifesteal. Give your other minions +2/+2. Sorry. I'd be curious what these golems are because I couldn't see them.
Right, so no hands. This looks familiar. The rogue slowly but surely getting through all the mage things. The mage just laughing at them. But this time, the rogue is a little bit slower to start with, and that's going to be an issue, I think, later on.
All right.
Fr0zen is getting into this, and still has a lot, obviously, to come.
Yeah, you trade. I was gonna say, I think you trade first, then you firebrand, brain freeze. See what happens. Evaluate. If it kills the 5/2, then you Incanter's Flow. If not, then Primordial Studies Ping, or Primordial Studies Ruined Orb. I guess you could still Incanter's Flow. Nah, might as well get this Wash Post out of the way while he has the spell damage since he hit the lab partner. Another Spring Water? No way. He can draw his deck next turn.
Yeah, this one's going to do some damage because now he's got rid of the watch posts.
I think you actually take
watch post meta.
I think you actually take Spring Water because next turn you can go Flow, Spring Water. You're probably going to hit another Spring Water in there. You can even AI in between that. You're picking up a bunch of burn that's cheap. Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Fr0zen has got the best flow right now, I think. And NoHandsGamer, unfortunately, is playing an unfair, rigged fair game because he's got nothing else to do. It's just rigged against him, unfortunately.
Yep. Well, it's summon a copy of this and Divine Shields. That's a pretty good one. That's the best board presence golem that there is.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, but also, yeah.
Okay, 18 cards left in Fr0zen's deck right now.
Are you going to do a recap at the end of the turn to see if there's any cards left at all?
Well, there will be some cards left, but probably not that many. Unless he could go for just like Flame Strike here, and then next turn go off with the... Yeah.
You're not going to face a harder board than this all game, so now...
let's be honest, though. Still could have done that with the Refreshing Spring Waters.
Yep. But he likes to open his Christmas presents after the meal, not before it.
Yeah, it's possible that he wants to see if the card off the top is Deck of Lunacy. But with double discount, 8 mana spells are pretty bad. They're not pretty bad. They're just not great, right? You have a lot of dud spells. You have some good ones, like Cenarian Ward and like Twisting Nether can be good, right? But all right, so there were 17 cards. Or 16, something around.
Yeah, they're not bad. The eight spells aren't that bad, actually. Yeah, there's things like Deep Freeze, which aren't great, but they're fine.
Looks like he's going to go for Mask of Thune and Ring Toss. Nice little efficient damage since the board is clean, and then might be the only time that the board is actually clean.
Picked two that, at random almost. He obviously knew what he wanted there.
All right.
Presumably took the armor.
Yeah. Instinct would tell you to field contact here, but I think No Hands wants to test because he really wants to draw Kargal now. He wants to have exactly 7 mana remaining with the Secret Passage, and he wants to draw Kargal. Because he's played 3 Watch Posts now. Didn't hit it.
But guess what? Fr0zen's just holding onto Flame Strike anyway.
He's holding on to Flame Strike anyway, but, you know, I like where No Hands was at. He was checking for secrets first with the Shadow Step because he realized that this was his last chance to kind of make a big push. So he tested for both the secrets that would punish him for going for this play and looked exclusively for Kargal because that was the biggest turn he could make this turn. So I commend him for the effort, but wasn't able to hit it with that secret passage. And now must face the consequences.
Are there any consequences, though? I mean, yes, he didn't kill a mage, so the mage will kill him, but...
Yeah.
That's the short version. The long version is pretty much the same.
That is... a 2-turn lethal setup. I mean...
Yeah, and it's Rogue, so there's no healing. The thing we used to say all those years ago about Rogue and Elven... Farseer, blah, blah, blah. Other than being Farseer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still applies to this day. You're going to die because you're Rogue.
Yep.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Okay, well. And this.
Very nice. Can't attack. You're dead, so it's unfortunate.
Those are really good.
Yeah. Except when you're on 7 and your opponent has Fireball and a hero power.
Yeah, he also has a Fireball in his deck. As well as an Apexis Blast, so...
He could play Allura by mistake and Fireball the Allura accidentally.
Oh, he'd miss an opportunity. That's when you deck of Lunacy and Arcane Intellect and try and find lethal with... all he needed was 4 mana for the Fireball plus ping. He could have done a lot more stuff before that happened. So, all tied up, and I mean, No Hands' Rogue is the weak link here.
And so is Fr0zen. So we're going to have a post-Rogue versus a Miracle Rogue in the last game.
Yeah.
All about the start for me, that one.
It is, yeah. I mean, these decks are incredibly similar, just except for those... couple of things that you mentioned. The extra 2 posts for No Hands plus the Kargal, whereas Fr0zen has Ogremancer and Guardian Og Merchants.
And the Kargal is a big deal. If No Hands can just not... If he can withstand the early pressure, and there's not that much more, that's a lot of extra value that comes in later on.
Yeah. It is, but it's hard to get to that point because it's not just wait till turn 7 and then if it's in your hand you play. You've also had to have played posts, which yes, you are mulliganing for them in a lot of situations. It's not like super guaranteed, but we'll see. It can be a game changer, but I'd much rather have like more consistent early game. And they both have the 2 mana posts, so it's not. So they're fighting in fair footage on fairgrounds there. But it's where Fr0zen has the ability to take boards faster because he has like the lower curve with the Guardian Og Merchants, and Ogremancer is a way to, when you have board, to really like solidify the fact that you have the board because your opponent can't play spells to get back onto the board to clear off your minions. So I would have to give a slight edge to Fr0zen in this one, but again, like you mentioned. It's all about the early game, right? The decks are too similar. So even though there's slight differences, and if they played 100 matches, maybe Fr0zen wins 55 of them. It's still going to be down to the opening.
Yep, and that's why we're playing 7 tournaments, TJ, not just the 1 tournament, because you might get knocked out on a 4 in 10 chance 1 week, but you can come back 6 more times and try again. And the winner of this will go to this week's quarterfinals, earning themselves some lovely points along the way. And Fr0zen's got to like his chances, although he is going to be on coin, but he's got a lovely looking hand here. How much of it do you want, I guess? So many choices here.
Swindle and Octobot, probably?
Yeah, if you're keeping those 2, do you want to keep the Shadow Step so you can get a nice cheap Swindle? Like, that's where it gets complicated. Cards you wouldn't normally keep. There's a lot of synergies here. So you really want to plan out your first 2 or 3 turns and see what you're going to do. Has he kept a lot? He's kept it all.
No.
That's much more sensible. That makes much more sense.
I was thinking
Wow.
it's either only Octobot or Octobot Swindle.
Yeah, I was thinking Octobot Swindle, but then when I thought that, I thought, well, Shadow Step then becomes so useful.
But then you're reducing Shadow Step in your hand?
Yeah. And then the Octobot's less useful, so...
Yeah, it's a little counterintuitive. I'd much rather like try and hit like the field contact, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to chain, right? You don't want to like get Octobot, then reduce Swindle, and just stop at Swindle. You want to get Octobot, which reduces the cards that then help you find Swindle. I guess. Like field contact. Because Swindle's already efficient by itself. So... And because Fr0zen's playing the... Yeah, I like being greedy in this matchup specifically because it's not as snowbally as Paladin. Well, it can get snowbally, especially with this watch post. But it's not as snowbally as Paladin before, where I criticized no efficient Octobot from Briarthorn. This one, it's pretty... What they're going to do... in a Rogue Mirror matchup is not going to be crazy, right? It's never going to be something that gets so out of control that there's no way you'd be able to deal with it.
Right.
Especially without Octobot activation. And so you can wait until you have these, more expensive cards in your hand that you want to discount, and then, because he's playing Guardian Og Merchant, activate the Frenzy and go for these big plays. Yeah, if I'm Fr0zen, I'm just getting rid of this because I kind of want to go off next turn because he'll have field contact, be able to be discounted if he finds like one more Battlecry or combo card. It's perfect.
Yep. Not ideal having to use those resources there, but what else can you do? You can't. Your minions are as big as the minions you're giving them, so you've got to get rid of it. And this allows NoHands to continue the curve. Not messing around. And he might want to curve into just a 5 that makes another 5 here, and that could be enough.
Yeah, I think that he's just playing Curve Rogue right now, and honestly, that's a lot of times quite powerful when you're just on the play. Just play your biggest thing each individual turn.
That's something we're not seeing enough of right now, and it's actually still quite a powerful strategy. Oh, draw 2 or freeze 2. Got to actually picture how the turn's going to go, right?
I actually don't know. I think he has enough draw in his hand. I don't think it's a matter of how many cards he has. I think it's a matter of how much mana he has to be able to play the card. So I'd probably go for freeze.
Especially if he's got the passage as well, so he's got like the reload ability.
Yeah.
I would agree with you here. But Fr0zen tidying up this particular board. With Jandis in hand, this is going to get really bloody really quickly.
Yeah. And this, I like this line from Fr0zen. He's kind of abandoning the Octobot in his hand because the time has passed, right? He'll be able to deal with that later, but he found an opportunity to use the field contact without having to activate Octobot in a more efficient way, in a way that was going to build a better board, and still able to curve into Jandis. So I'm a big fan of this one.
He cleared the board and made this reasonably annoying board all in one go there, without without having to mess around in other ways. I think I'd have got distracted there somewhere along the way.
And look what kind of turn this forces out from No Hands. He has to play Cult Neophyte and just Brain Freeze Hero Power. That's such a weak turn. Rolls right into Jandis for Fr0zen. Ugh. I mean, hits a rush minion, but...
Yeah, just a 4/4, 3/1 and a 2/1 for 5 mana. How horrible.
Well, so Fr0zen actually trades in the 2/1 into the Cold Neophyte instead of the Rush Minion, so misses 2 damage, just to not reveal to No Hands which one of these is illusioned, right?
Yep. Oh, and that's going to matter.
It does matter, because now he will only have played 2 cards, so he needs to guess correctly unless he just wants to say... I mean, it's not about guessing correctly. It's, as always, the 3/3, right? It's just the weaker minion.
It's always a 3-3 unless your opponent's just attacked him with the other thing so you don't know which one it is. And then suddenly you've got to stop playing this stupid guessing game.
Yeah. Well, now he just kills one of them no matter what. This one just takes more damage. And I like the sequencing there. If it was the 4-4, Fr0zen was trying to play some weird mind games on it, he would have killed that and then had a 3 damage prize plunder to be able to kill the face manipulator. So,
I mean, it's very rarely the other one. It's very rarely that anybody good puts on the wrong one. You just have to do it, I don't know, 10% of the time. Official Hearthstone statistic.
Yeah.
Just to keep your opponents honest, if you like. Just to stop them having it too easy.
There's actually no way for Fr0zen to not give Octobot value over to No Hands this turn.
That's interesting, actually, yeah.
Unless he goes for a one mana golem.
And he knows there's a golem in hand, so he knows he's reducing a 5 into a 4, most likely. Meaning that, like,
the 1. Oh, he didn't pick a 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be out there if he had. So he knows that it's not going to be the situation where your opponent can just play their cards anyway. You are definitely helping them a lot here if you do proc this Octo.
Efficient
yeah.
Is sufficient.
Yeah, I like getting the proc out of the way, which means you discount 1 less card and you don't let them draw cards before they get the opportunity to discount.
Yeah, absolutely. See people sort of hoping it will go away and forget to proc itself way too often. Not at this level, I hasten to add, but, you know, at my level.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
It is a draw 2 cards column that he has.
Hey, loser!
Interesting. That explains why he's held on to it for this long, I guess. He's had plenty of things to do to this point.
Yep. I wonder if he wants to end this turn with more value or with some board presence. He could go Swindle Wicked Stab, and that makes it so Fr0zen doesn't give any more or any Octobot value. Or he could have gone for like Mancrick and just let the value flow for Fr0zen, or let the flow with the mana reductions.
I think No Hands is in a spot now where he wins if he doesn't die in the next few turns, because he's got an army of 5/5s to come at some point as well.
At some point, but it could be in the bottom of his deck. That's the thing to add. I guess Secret Passage will increase the likelihood of that, especially now he's at 8+ mana, which means he could, at any time, he could Secret Passage plus.
Yeah, he's getting there fast, right? So all he needs to do is kind of trade 1 for 1 for 2 or 3 turns, not take a silly amount of damage anywhere, and he should be okay. Easy for me to say when I can see both hands, though.
Yeah, easy for you to say, Neil. Jeez. Give him a break.
But Fr0zen's on this. Like, he realizes the same thing that I realize, because he can also see his own hand. That he is desperately needing to get some value back. I don't know.
Both players have full hands and are at 20+ health.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they've only got 10 cards left. It's like the Priest Mirror, except with rogue cards somehow.
Yep.
But this should sort it out. No Hands is about to sort this out.
Quiet.
Yeah, I like that no Hands just went for it right now. In not really thinking too much about this. He was thinking about what his play was going to be on his last turn. He knew he had Octobot Pinflinger in hand, so he knew he had to just go for it. Is he going to do it again? Oh my gosh, he's got to go really fast because this is going to get slightly complicated. So he Octobots again, then Pinflingers again, and then he can play his whole hand except for Secret Passage.
Yeah, just press buttons and see what happens. That's what I would do here, skillfully. Just throw things out there. Try desperately not to let the Penflinger animations, you know, take up all your time. Factor that in.
Yep.
Yeah, wedge a massive golem onto the board. That seems a good play. And a watch post in case you draw your big man. Yeah, it's all going well here for No Hands.
His hand is just filling up. There's just cards flying into his hand. I didn't even know where they were coming from. Pretty good turn there. I would have liked to see Mankrik there.
Yeah?
I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point because he's still going to have 2 turns. I was trying to find a way to set up like a 2-turn lethal, but Fr0zen's very likely to pick apart at least some of this board. And it doesn't guarantee. I guess it doesn't guarantee anything. I guess it would with Secret Passage, but
I'm sort of wondering if the wife's actually going to take up board space and only be a 3/10 might actually be annoying.
Yeah.
Rather than have a bunch of 5/5s.
There is like a weird burst combination next turn because there'll be 2 cards left in the deck. No Hands could go Mankrik, Shadow Step, Mankrik, Secret Passage, which is guaranteed 6 to face. And then you
burst combos.
And then you do pen flingers on either side. That's 10 burst damage from hand with no wicked stabs.
All right. I mean,
and there actually is a wicked stab left in the deck. So he's on 9 mana, so that's another 4 damage. That's 14 damage guaranteed from hand. Plus the pen flingers get to go again. That's 16 damage from hand.
16? And 4 on the board.
And 4, that's lethal.
Easy.
Oh no, the wicked stab because of the post. It's 3 mana. It's not lethal. It's
silly post.
It's 1 mana off now.
Oh,
I wonder if he would have even spotted that. So let's see. You would Mankrik, 1 mana. Shadow. Then you double pen flinger, 3 mana. Shadow Step. Mankrik. So that's 4 mana. Right? And then you double pen flinger again, so that's 6 mana. And then Secret Passage, and then double pen flinger again, and Wicked Stab. So that's 4 damage, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. What did I do that wrong? Be 6,
I'm not sure.
4 plus 4.
Choose soon.
I think I'm right.
I mean, it felt right when you said it at the time. We got 16 was right. It's just
no. Yeah, it's all right. Mankrik doesn't fire off Secret Passage. It's actually a castable spell in hand.
Or an uncastable spell in hand, in fact.
Didn't they fix that?
They didn't when I played it yesterday, but maybe I did something wrong.
Okay.
They may have fixed it.
Yeah, but it would have been cool, nonetheless.
I liked it. I think it was good. And I don't care if it was possible or not. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's the key.
There you go. Theoretical lethals if Secret Passage actually pulled castable spells out of your hand.
But, I mean, the alternative was saying he's going to play Jandis, and where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
That would have been really boring.
So he definitely wouldn't have spotted it. You know what? Man,
imagine if you spotted it and you got halfway through the turn and then you realised that it was wrong. Then you'd be in a mess.
Yeah. Oh, Mask of Cthulhu. That's really good against Jandis. You know what? I'm a little bit frustrated, Neil, because I've missed like 3 interactions in the past, in this series alone.
And you're going to tell me that I should be picking you up on this, right?
No. In situations where I don't know,
should.
like 500 games of Hearthstone in the past week since the matches came out, like 100 of each of the meta decks at least. And I'm still missing interactions on stream because I get too excited and too ahead of myself. This is lethal, by the way, so NoHandsGamer is going to take the series. But
the trouble is, TJ, I enjoy your. I actually understood what you're talking about that time, and I thought, hey, I don't think that works. I thought, no,
I appreciate it. It doesn't work.
It's great.
It doesn't work, but I appreciate you going along with me. But something that I shouldn't have been missing. So, no NoHandsGamer would not have thought of that. I like this play. The posts end up working out well because they just bought him time, right? Like on turn 3, Fr0zen had a huge potential play with Octobot, and instead had to Wicked Stab Brain Freeze just the 3 mana post, which not only gave up a lot of tempo, but gave up a couple of key tools that he needed to swing back on his side. And the cargo didn't really even come into play, so it really was just like navigation of the resources and the power play from NoHandsGamer on the turn where he went Octobot, Penflinger, Shadow Step the Octobot, Penflinger again. That was what made it happen. So nicely done. And even though it was a close series and the Rogue was the weak link on both sides, it ended up being a slightly weaker link for Fr0zen in the series.
Indeed, and that's often, we talked about the fourth dex. Well, today it was the third dex as it happens, but that often happens in Conquest. You get to game number 5 and you're down to, by definition, the things that haven't been working. And when it's a mirror or very close to it, you know, it's going to come down to some fine bits. But that watch post got it all done early on. The fact that Fr0zen could